Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hey everybody,
Hello.
Hi, good
Hey.
evening, sisters.
happy
Good
Hey.
Thursday.
evening.
Good
Happy
evening.
Thursday.
I can't believe it's Thursday already.
I know, right? Mm.
Where's the week gone?
The week has
How's
gone really
everyone's
quick.
week? Yeah, no. How's everyone's week been so far?
It's been good. It was interesting yesterday. I nearly had to call the police. But yeah, it was good.
What?
My son, you know that trip, the trip that he went to that I was doing packed lunch. Well, basically, he decided to disappear. So he got back from school and I couldn't find him. And I was panicking. I phoned the school, they couldn't find him. They're checking CCTV. And then he strolls like 40 minutes after everyone had left the school. I
Oh
had to hold myself. I was literally in tears because I was like, what do I do? He wasn't picking up his phone, nothing. Oh, the joys of motherhood. That's what
Oh
I'm going to
my
say.
God.
Yes. How
wow.
is everyone?
I'm good. I just feel like I've had like a long week. I feel like my double schedule and all is beginning to catch up on me.
Mm,
To feel, or maybe because it's just end of the year and obviously we've gone through the year already. I'm beginning to feel that
sure.
fatigue of, oh, I need a holiday, I need a break. So,
Mm.
yeah. Auntie Yunkos, how's your week been?
Pretty good. Still getting over the weekend and the party. You guys have not seen videos yet.
Yes.
Well,
I will
wait
need
till
send
weekend because
videos now.
I need to put it together properly. And I'll
Sure,
send
sure.
you
We
guys
need
a
to see
link.
everything.
Yes,
Please
yes.
do. We need to see everything, please. Thank
Tell us,
you.
what was
Oh,
the party for? It's
Oh,
for
it
real
was
cow.
my mother-in-law's 80th birthday. She turned 80 last week
Wow.
Sunday, and it was also their 55th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Yes, yes,
Five.
yes.
oh,
Yeah, it's a blessing celebrating your aged parents, you
Yeah.
know. Mm.
Fantastic.
Oh, bless God.
Wow.
Bless God. It was beautiful.
Thank God. Yeah.
amazing.
Awesome.
Cece, how about
Yes,
you?
yes. I had a good week. It's been busy. As you know, I was away last week. I feel like
Mhm.
how this time last week I was in the airport.
Mm,
And it's been a week already. I can't believe it. So I had a good trip. Dubai was giving all Dubai had to give. And I was
Mm.
actually away
mm.
for similar to Sister Yinka, the couple that we went for, my partner's like very close family friend. The sister and the husband were getting they were doing their 20th wedding anniversary,
Oh,
Mm.
and
Wow.
it was both of their birthdays, so it was big birthday, so we were celebrating that. So it was just a week of celebrating love, black love, which I love.
yeah.
I'm a romantic. and
Fantastic.
then and then they surprised their guests, us, on our last night with renewing their wedding vows, which was
Oh,
so
wow.
sweet.
Fan-
I love that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love
So yeah,
that.
back, and already it's cold, it's gloomy. I'm even coming
Yeah.
down with a cold. It's like, hello, what happened to my holiday vibes? So
Sorry.
we
I'm
Back
not
moved.
to
going
the
to
UK.
lie.
I
I'm not
know,
going to
right?
lie, sister. I feel like every time I come back to the UK from holiday, I feel unwell.
I'm telling you.
It's not
Hmm.
life that we're living in this country. It's
Mm,
I
not
know, right?
you.
It's not nice.
yeah.
It's not nice. And because of daylight, is it daylight saving?
Mm-hmm.
It starts from
It should
about
be done 4,
3 o'clock, isn't it, CC? And
like
from about
4.
4 o'clock,
Yeah.
it's pitch black. Yeah, wow. The joys of the UK. Hmm.
Crazy. But yeah,
Anyway, can I ask what is in everyone's cup?
Oh,
Um, shall I start first if that's okay?
go for it.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm
Excuse me.
trying to be really healthy because, like I said, I don't drink coffee, so I normally have tea. But I think last weekend I went to Aldi. UK
Mm-hmm.
massive. You know where Aldi
Yeah,
is,
we have
and
Aldi here too. Mm-hmm.
basically I've started thinking about having all these kind of like herbal teas. So I did honey, my namesake, and ginger, and I'm having it now. I'm
Mm.
tempted to put
Nice.
sugar, but I'm trying to be really, really good. So yeah, I'm having honey and ginger, and it tastes really nice.
Mm. Okay, cool. Auntie Inkus, what's in your cup?
And I don't have a cup today. I have a bowl of soup, chicken broth soup.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, because it's kind of
Nice.
cold today. It was warm
Yeah.
and then cold, and I just feel like if I don't do this, I may come down with a flu or cold or something. So
Mm.
Mm.
yeah,
Actually,
but
you should have sent me that,
yeah,
sister. That's what I
yeah.
need.
Now
Actually,
you need it.
pepper soup. I need pepper soup.
Mm.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
Mm.
Stacey, what's in your
And what
cup?
about you?
oh, what's in my cup? Just hot ginger and lemon. That's it.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
good.
Very
That's
nice.
good.
Yeah,
Mm.
Well, I'm having water. I'm having
water.
water.
Minding your
Not the
business.
Very
salt.
healthy.
Not
I
be
was
your
having
good
nettle.
water, man.
I had a lot of. I had a really bad headache and stomach ache today, so couldn't be
Sorry,
bothered
my
with
dear.
things. Thank you. Anyway, welcome, real fam. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and share as well. And of course, share with us what you're having. Um, as well, what you're having to drink as well in the chat. If you can. So, Cece, do you want to introduce our topic, please?
Okay. Yes, thank you. So I came across the video, one of the videos that we were going to watch, and it just triggered something from a conversation I had with a friend, and it was really about the dynamics of mother and daughter relationships, specifically black women, black mothers, black daughters, Africans, as well, because the person I was talking to is Nigerian, and she was telling me about her dynamics, strained dynamics with her mum. And then the next day, I saw one of the videos that we're going to watch, the Black China and Tokyo Tony, and I was just like, this is a topic that we need to discuss because it's something that is definitely rife within our community, African Black community, the kind of struggles between the mother and the daughter, not always necessarily the first daughter, but sometimes first daughter, but just sometimes mothers and their daughters just in general. And I thought it would be good to kind of unpack that. Where does that stem from? The kind of animosity, look at ways that we, maybe areas to identify what that looks like if you're going through a similar relationship. And then also unpacking maybe how we work through maybe healing or resolving those kind of conflicts. So yeah, I thought it would be a good topic for this week.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Sounds great. So, are we ready to get into it? Can I start playing the
Yeah,
videos so we
Let's
can get into the
go.
conversation?
Yes.
Amazing.
The way that you act, you don't see how you act why people don't want to be around you?
No.
Look how you act.
I know.
You're a beautiful person.
You come in here with an attitude.
I don't have an attitude.
Okay, superb.
So get all that. What's up? What's your issues?
I don't have none.
You do, Angela.
I don't.
You do. You have a lot of issues, darling.
One issue is you.
Back
It's
up.
f***ing you.
Really? What
It's
is
you.
What might that be?
It's you.
Okay, come back
It's
again.
f***ing you. So don't walk and stomp in here.
I'll walk and stomp where I want.
I did nothing to her, and she can't to this day explain to me what is it that I've done so bad. She's just being a bitch.
You are disgusting sometimes. Like now, you disrespect everybody. Everybody. I've been telling you this for years. And I don't play no games with nobody. I'm real with everything.
You wasn't ever there, so
Let's get this shit over with. Cause I'm ready to get the ASAP after this shit. I got a plane ticket, babe. What's up? Cause I'm done. With your lies. You lied on me.
and this is why I'm about to break the cycle. King and Dream will never see this. Bye.
Oh, okay.
They'll never see it.
Good.
They won't.
Good.
That's why they're not here. Present.
Good. That's why they're not here.
I left all that like loud ghetto like all that ratchet behind. Like I'm not trying to like put that energy like in the air at all. So if you can't get with it, then you gotta get lost. Dreamy comes Saturday, Sunday.
I don't have nothing to do with
So
that.
wait, so
What
this is
wrong?
why she's not here.
You're a weirdo.
Monday,
A whole
Saturday,
weirdo.
Sunday,
You're
Monday, Tuesday,
bipolar.
Wednesday.
Mental issues.
5 days.
You put your hand in my face again, girl.
5 days.
You're going to stretch your ass across this
So
kitchen. You better keep your motherfucking hands on my face.
5 days.
Don't touch me no more.
5 days.
You do it again, I'm gonna rock your world in this mother.
So rock it.
You put your fucking hands on me again.
So rock it.
Put your hands on me again.
Rock it.
You a disrespectful
So 5
ass girl.
days.
You disrespectful is what you are.
I know.
Yeah, you are. I don't care what your mother did to you. I don't care if she sold your to our army. You still better respect your mama.
Why do you bring like you and China's personal family issues to the internet?
Where else am I gonna bring it?
Directly to China, right?
If I could call her.
So you blocked.
She just blocked me recently because I bust her out about a few things, and I'm gonna continue to do it.
About how she treats you?
No,
or-
I don't care about that. I'm over that. I'll never have to see her another day in my life. I'll be fine with that.
Are you proud of China?
I used to be.
I mean, what about her transformation into
What transformation?
her finding God, and she's transformed from Black China to Angela. Angela, her last name's White.
Now, wow,
That was stressful.
as in so stressful.
My anxiety was
Oh
high.
my gosh.
Whew.
Very toxic. Very toxic. I don't know
And
what else
guess
to
what,
say.
ladies? We've
Yeah.
actually watched that backstage before. So we still have this,
Yeah.
still feel this way about it. Imagine someone who's watching this for the first time. It's
I
ridiculous.
know, right? It's ridiculous. It's
Sheesh.
bad.
So, in terms
Yeah.
of this video, what can we? I mean, what's the tone? What's going on in this relationship? What do we think is going on between the lady? Her mum is called Tokyo Tony, and obviously Black China is her daughter. Um, where is this all stemming from? What's going on between them?
Honey, babe.
I'm sorry. I actually don't know what to say. I think there's underlying tensions because I get the impression, when I'm going kind of like forward a bit, so I will go back. But towards the end, when someone was interviewing her and she said that, are you proud of her? She said, I used to be. So I think the problem is that one person, as in the daughter, has decided to change, as in, like I said, the impression I got with all the abuse and the toxicity and the shouting, what is
Mm.
Black China didn't do anything. Maybe the hands, not so good, bit disrespectful, but she didn't shout or scream. She just basically was she counting on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, trying to calm herself down. And I get the impression the problem is that maybe the dynamics has changed because I get the impression that the way that Black China was before, she was very ratchet and the mum was cool with that. Now that things are not going her way, there's a problem between the two of them. But then again, it could be a case of always been like this. The way she shouted at her, I'm actually in shock that even with the cameras, she didn't care. And this is how she was talking to her daughter. So you can imagine what she what she was doing when the cameras were not there. For me, there's definitely underlying issues. They both need therapy. There's definitely something going on, and it's really scary that this was played out. I don't know whether it's a show, this was played out to the cameras. I actually am still trying to digest it, so that's all I have to say right now. So if anyone else wants to chip in, thank you.
Auntie Inkers, what do you think?
Yeah, that was. I'm speechless to say the least. Um, the way it looks, I think the mother was okay with how Black China may have been before. Maybe like exactly like her mom, where her mom would say one and she would dish it right back. But now all of a sudden she's saying all of this nasty things, and all China is trying to do is trying to calm herself down to not respond, and that is also triggering the mother even the more. It's just toxic. Like, oof, crazy.
Sissy.
So let me give a little background into these two people, then maybe you can kind of give us a bit more context around their dynamics. So Tokyo Tony, I believe I've seen had Black China when she was about 16. So she was clearly really, really young when she had her daughter. And with obviously being a young parent, that clearly will have some emotional, what would I say, emotional gaps for her. And then I feel like growing as a mother has a teen, like a teen pregnancy, you're basically growing up with your child and learning the ropes,
Mm.
right? I think her
Yeah.
mom also used to be in the army. I read that somewhere. I think she was enlisted in the army. I don't know how she served or what that looked like for her. And then her mum later on became a stripper. and so did Black China. So I feel like from things that she said, Black China said in interviews, she's always felt that her mum has always been competing with her,
Mm.
whether that's for male attention. She'll talk to her boyfriends, or as she became more famous, I think she became popular because she was linked to, what's that guy's name?
Rob Kardashian.
Mhm.
No, Tiger.
Kardashian.
Tiger.
Yeah,
No.
Tiger.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. So when Black China came onto the scene, she was a big stripper. I don't know obviously in the US, but the person that she was dating at the time was an
Was
upcoming rapper, which
Tiger.
was Tiger,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Right. So that's how she got launched into the limelight, and then I think she went on and did a video with Nicki Minaj, and that kind of catapulted her into the limelight. But that was her relationship. So after those relationships, she's had a relationship, I think, with the game, and there was a period where her mum went on to a interview and she was flirting with her daughter's known ex-boyfriend, the game, right? So,
Mm.
and Black China's always said this. That's just one of the things that the mum used to do, and I feel like that probably stems from her growing up with her, having a child at 16. I remember I had my daughter at 17. So I can kind of understand how it would be easy to fall into that pattern of growing with your child, but still
Mhm.
having your very childish tendencies, and then also having the responsibility of being a parent. And if you're not correctly guided with good support system, I had a fantastic support system in my mum and my family, so that was not going to be my portion. But I've seen it with people that have had children very young. They don't have the emotional stability, and then they start competing with their kids because they're living their life as a teenager, but they're
Mhm.
also bringing up a child, and that clearly will have some, I think, unresolved, maybe, what's the word, like you'll have this kind of hate towards the child because you feel like you're missing out, but then again, it's not
She
the
took
child's
your
fault
life
that
from
It's
they
not
feel
the
you.
like.
child. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think the word is resentment. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think there would be
Yeah.
resentment, but
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
obviously her own traumas as a mum. I don't know how she got pregnant at 16, what her life would have looked like, but I think that's the genesis of a lot of their issues as
Mm.
the two of them, and it's clearly very toxic because the mum always wants to kind of have the spotlight when Black China is the one with the spotlight. Her mum would do really things to antagonize her. Black China, obviously, you still love your mom, but then at the same time, your mom is like your biggest op, and you're
Mm.
trying to navigate that relationship. She does what she can in terms of financially supporting her, and then I think her mum would just constantly want to take. And then when she doesn't want to give her mum anymore, she'll throw like emotional abuse, like I'm your mom, like I'm the one that gave birth to you. If I wasn't the one that gave birth to you, you wouldn't have any of these things. Totally negating all of her hard work that she's
Mm.
to get to where she is. So yeah, I think that there's a lot there, but I think that's kind of where a lot of their problems stem from. Maybe the immaturity from the mum, and then having her daughter, and then also trying to live her life as well alongside having a child.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it's just so sad. Okay, I'm going to play the next video. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Of course, I secretly would rather see you struggle than do well for yourself. The more you struggle, the more you have to rely on me, which means I get to control you. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, I had children to cater to my ego. The purpose of having kids is to teach blind obedience to me, not for them to be their own people. I'm their ruler. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, you have to earn my love. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, I've been emotionally unavailable your whole life. I didn't become a mom to meet your needs. I became a mom for you to meet mine. I'm a narcissistic mother. I can only love you for who I want you to be, not for who you are. As long as you do as I say, stick beside me in my toxic behavior, and participate in the fantasy I created in my head, you have nothing to worry about, my love. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, I'd rather impress strangers and give the idea of a perfect family instead of actually having a healthy family dynamic. I don't really care about having a healthy family dynamic. As long as I get to post and keep up my false image, I'm fine. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, I play my children against each other and make them compete for my attention. I can never let them have a close relationship and leave me out the middle. Never. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, I'm going to be a seemingly loving grandmother, but only to one grandkid. I have to use the same manipulative tactics I used on my kids when they were younger. How else am I going to get them to compete for my love? I'm a narcissistic mother. I'll never apologize for the way I treated you.
think everybody's saying the volume's pretty low. I think for
The
me,
funny as the girl decided to do bedroom voice. There's no about it.
It was quite low, yeah.
It was, but it's crazy because I watched this video so many times. It wasn't low on my phone, but that's the highest. She's
No,
oh
we
she's
no.
heard everything.
she's doing
Yeah.
baby girl baddie. So that's the voice of a baddie on the internet.
Not a problem.
So
Anyway,
I
she
think it
was
was talking about narcissistic mothers, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
basically
she was.
there's this trend on TikTok where you basically talk like that, point of view kind of trend. So that's what she was doing
Mhm.
and just giving different points of how uh narcissistic mother would behave pretty
Yeah.
much. So that's basically the video. I feel like so in terms of what's her name, Black China and her mom, their issue, I feel like sometimes unfortunately people don't grow past their trauma.
Mm.
I remember, and it's just unfortunate. And I remember we've had this conversation backstage on the Real Fam VIP, where we talked about why parents, do the things that they do, even if we don't understand it. And in fact, I think Honey Babe and I even had a private conversation outside of that a little bit about it as well, because I had
Yeah, yeah,
pointed out that there's so many underlying issues that personally I feel like I have observed now that I
sure.
know more. I spoke about neurodivergence. We spoke about even all sorts of trauma or even personality disorder that we're unaware
Yeah.
of. And I remember that Honey Babe reached out to me and she said, "Oh, if you want to think about it from even a Nigerian standpoint, for instance, where are the what's the word, Honey Babe? The resources, that's the word,
Yeah, the resources and the
available
experts.
for
Yeah,
them to even diagnose these things to begin with. One.
sure.
Secondly, we have to really think about it. One of the voice notes I dropped on the backstage was explaining my granddad, where my granddad was very weird. To me, he was very weird. And in fact, we do, how sometimes you just experience things, maybe it's not a big deal because you move on, but it became a big deal when he passed this year. My granddad passed this year in May, and my uncles, my dad only has brothers, so this is my paternal granddad. My uncles reached out to us, and my dad of course reached out to say, guys, where's your tribute to your granddad? And because my granddad is quite a prominent person, it was quite a big deal. The event was over a week. For those in the backstage, when I went to Lagos, the event was over a week. Every day was one event or the other, from Lagos to Ekpe, which is another part of Lagos where we are from. And it was so tough writing a tribute to my granddad. It was generic. In fact, I had to research. But normally, if you're writing a tribute, you're writing it from the heart because you have experiences with this person, right? And then my dad had a conversation with us, and obviously my uncles also had a conversation with their children about why most of our tributes just felt very generic and just felt like, oh, you guys are forcing a tribute on us, we're going to give it to you. It's because we never really had a relationship with him, and everything that we remembered him from was somewhat negative, or at least would look negative to the public. And of course, that's not what they expected of us. He didn't do anything bad per se, but it was just that he never got close to us. I'll give you an example. If you call my granddad for his own birthday, oh grandpa, happy birthday, he'll say thank you, hold on for your grandmom. uh, Granddad, don't you want to know how I'm doing at uni? Don't you want to know how work is? Don't you even want me to ask you how your health is? Right? But my grandmom is the opposite. My grandmom is very, very sweet. My grandmom will call you. Even just 2 days ago, she called me on video call. She'll call you on video call. She wants to see your face and all of that. So she would try to nurture those relationships between us, the grandchildren, and my granddad. Growing up, we used to be so scared to go to my granddad's house as well because he was always something like you could never do anything right. But then again, I realized that there's so many things that he did or his own way of showing love. The one thing my granddad is going to do is give you lots of money unprovoked for no reason. One of those kind of grandparents that sweet is 100 naira, at least growing up, or is this super yogo, whatever. Super yogo is like a popular yogurt in like sachets that we used to have back in the day. Is 100 naira. It's not a person that would give you 100,000 naira for sweets, right? And it just dawned on me that at that point, it might not have made sense to a child, or to a child, those things are kind of like temporary. It's just sweets, right? After church. But now that I'm an adult, I'm realizing that this man paid first year tuition fees for all the grandchildren. That's the only way he knew how to show love. And then I'm realizing that I know this man's what's the word? This man's upbringing as well. These are the sort of people that live through wars. This is a man that was brought up by a British missionary. What does he know about love, right? So for him, as far as he's concerned, I've achieved this much. This is what I can do for you guys. This is my way of showing love. But it took me being older to realize that, that's kind of the way he is, and that's how he knows how to show love. Because at the end of the day, he's not like he's not doing what he's supposed to do for his children and grandchildren. He just doesn't know any better, or did not know any better, right? And unfortunately for him, he had a wife who knew how to do that. So I think in a way she kind of compensated for that, and it made him even be more laid back about having to do any of those things, since his wife was doing it perfectly anyway. So it's just even things like that. My experience with my mom as well, personally, I wouldn't say my mom was toxic, but I felt like when I look at my siblings and when I look at other people around me, even house helps that we had growing up, I felt like my mom was tough on me. At some point, I started even doubt if I was that was my mother. Like it was that bad, because it almost felt like I couldn't do anything right. But later on, when I left for the UK and I went to college and uni, we had a conversation, and it turned out that my mom was just very scared, and she really wanted me to turn out well. That was a conversation. That was a healing conversation we had. Mind you, the background is my mom isn't necessarily from a rich family, and she met my dad and started her life. So my mom left Delta State, met my dad in Kaduna, and they basically started their life together. My mom is the only member of a family that moved to Lagos, because obviously my dad is from Lagos. So I think that for her as well, with the tribalism that she also faced with my dad's family, my dad's parents. My dad is Yoruba, my mom is Igbo, or was Igbo. So the tribalism that she faced also made her feel like she had to prove to them that she was good for my dad in a sense, right? And also because there was also like a clear, should I say, financial gap between my parents as well. My parents' family, my dad's family was pretty wealthy, or my granddad's pretty wealthy. So I think that it was very obvious. It was a case of not only is she Igbo, she's who's her dad, that kind of thing, unfortunately. So it took my mom years to kind of get their love and their acceptance. So I feel like once I came in, and it also took them a while to even accept me, because I was referred to as Omoibo, even if I'm my father's child. So I think my mom really, really wanted me to turn out great, because I would be evidence. I'm the first child, by the way. I would be evidence that she's a great wife and a great mom in a sense. And maybe in some ways as well, she just felt like, oh, I really want this girl to be accepted as my first child. So it was, it took me a while to really understand her own trauma as well, because when I say tribalism, I don't mean surface level tribalism. I'm talking about tribalism where she could have lost her life. I'm talking about tribalism where I had a brother before, my actual brother now, that passed because of the treatment. Like it's that deep. So this woman was clearly struggling with that whole thing of this girl must turn out great, because she's not me, you're going to embarrass. So I say all of this to say that sometimes people actually work through these things from a place of trauma, from a place of wanting to be accepted, or all sorts of toxic reasons. Doesn't make it right. But now that I'm an adult, and don't get me wrong, now that I'm even older, I appreciate a lot of the training, because maybe really and truly she saw something in me that made her realize that, you know what, this one, she needs iron hand, if that makes sense. I wouldn't know, because look at me now. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. Is everybody here?
Thanks, Abby. That
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
that was,
yeah. Thank you for that. For
who's
that
next? Honey babe.
testimony. Yeah, I'll just reflect back to what Abby said and the conversation that we had. And I'm glad that you put that particular perspective. I'm gonna do it from the other perspective where I agree with you that sometimes it comes from a place of experience, it comes from a place of trauma, and and obviously explaining that in regards to your grandfather and also in regards to your mother. But I would also say that the other side of it, or another kind of reason, could be very simply where I there is this perception of neurodiversity and having a condition where obviously you process things differently. I don't know if you heard of ADHD, autism, etc., and dyslexia. And there's sometimes, and I think I mentioned that with Abby, where there's especially, I mean, even here, the UK, there is still people that have gone under the radar that are neurodivergent and they have not been diagnosed. So I can imagine what it's like in Nigeria. And yes, there's trauma, and yes, there's circumstances where the environment has shaped you to be the type of person that you have, that you're very harsh and you don't know how to express yourself when it comes to love. But there's also the situation where it comes to ADHD and autism, you are it's not a mental condition, it's a neurological condition where you simply struggle with socialization. So you struggle to read the room. So someone that you would have a conversation and they seem very abrupt, or they're very hard to kind of interact with. That could be, and I'm not saying for everything, but I'm just kind of talking about the conversation I had with Abby, that could be a condition because of the fact that they could be neurodivergent, which is many things. The main ones that most people know, autism and ADHD. I have a son that has ADHD and autism, and he's very gifted, but at the same time and time again, he struggles with social interaction. Most of the issues he has is when he's at lunch or playing, because he struggles to find friendships. And whether it's adults or children, we are very quick to perceive when someone is strange or weird. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I think for the person that is neurodivergent, it's a struggle because people will look at you in a certain way that social cues they can't read because of the way that they're conditioned neurologically. So I don't want to go for too long, but I think that's definitely something that I think that in Nigeria there must be people under the radar where yes, there could be trauma, but there could be situations where they're neurodivergent and it hasn't been diagnosed, especially with the fact, as like I said with Abby, where there isn't any expertise. You have, to study to be a GP or to be a doctor is a lot. Then you now specialize when it comes to autism and ADHD. That's another specialization. That takes resources, that takes commitment to have the certain amount of experience. When my son was diagnosed with autism, in order to be diagnosed, you need three doctors. So you have three doctors that all expertise in their own fashion, and they have to make a majority decision to say that yes, based on assessments, based on interactions, based on observations, they think that this child or this adult is autistic. Now you can imagine how much each of those doctors, how much they spent to be a doctor, the loans and everything. So to have those resources in Nigeria is going to be very challenging, very challenging, because like I said, you have to do a certain amount of study. So I just thought I'd mention that in the sense that I think there's that side of it as well. So yeah, thank you.
Hmm. Okay, can I go,
Go
ladies?
for it. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
That's
So, like Abby had said earlier, so someone passed away, I'm not going to say who, a few years back, and we were told to write a tribute as well about this person. Um, and for the life of me, I just couldn't. I got the message about the tribute, and then I just didn't know what to write. I asked my mom, I said, I really don't know what I'm supposed to write, because not until I got to the US, and started learning about, knowing about mental health and all of this, things that may have, how people tend to act sometimes. And if you really take a good look at it, I am not a doctor, I'm not even in the healthcare field, but I just knew at that point that something was off. Meanwhile, when I was in Nigeria, I used to think that this person was just mean spirited for no reason. Like, you wouldn't do anything to this person, and sometimes the person will call you a monkey and call you all sorts of names, go from laughing with you 1 minute to acting like you're the devil the next minute, as though you've really done something wrong to them. And I didn't understand why this adult would act this way. So after a few years, I actually asked my mom, I said, did anybody even ever think that this person should have seen a doctor? Like, did you, because of everything that she did, pretty much my childhood that I knew her was not okay. Like, something must be off. But my mom said she didn't know if, anything was, if anything was done. But I say this to say there are many people even in our society that are going through this. Now, we're talking about mother daughter relationships. Yes, issues like this may have medical conditions, unknown medical conditions may be the underlying issues here. I even remember myself growing up, I also had, a really tough time with my mom, but it wasn't like she was wicked or anything like that. It was more so like, number one, I'm the first of five. She was extremely strict with me. Like when I went to Nigeria after I got here and I went to Nigeria, I think by the time I was 21, I went to visit in Nigeria and I saw the way she handled the rest of my siblings. They had makeup, they were in college. And I'm like, man, at your age, I couldn't even smell eye pencil. Like, that's how bad it was. Like, my mom wouldn't. I was always in pants. First of all, I've always been a tomboy, so I used to wear like pants and jeans and stuff like that. And my mom used to feel like if I wanted to wear dresses, I'm too rough a girl to be wearing dresses. And I wanted to wear dresses, but she wouldn't allow me wear dresses because she said I was too rough of a girl to wear dresses. But with everything that she, the way she raised me and everything, I felt there was a point that I actually felt that she wasn't the one that gave birth to me. But I've come to realize that it's actually a lot of firstborns, female firstborns, that have actually felt like that one way or the other in Nigeria. I mean, the ones that I've spoken to. So could we say that it's also cultural in that sense? That's the bigger question here. So, because if a lot of female firstborns in Nigeria or in Africa in general have like a tough hand with their mother, is it a cultural thing to say you're trying to hold your daughter so that she doesn't go astray? Because for me, when I got here, I came here at 17. And I was pretty much by myself for the first time in my entire life. I've never been away from my parents before. The things that she taught me and how to handle myself actually helped me navigate my time, till I was a full-blown adult. These were, I mean, my mom and I were people that I didn't want to stay in the same space with my mom. I preferred to go to boarding school than stay home during the holiday, except if my dad was around. So should we say that that kind of situation will be more of a firstborn female and a mother dynamic, where the mother is actually putting all her energy to raise this girl to be the the billboard, the good one in the family, to set the stage for the rest of the children? That's another way to look at it. Yeah, that's my take on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way as you. We've discussed this
Yeah.
for anyone that backstage. It's pretty much my reality as well. Growing up with
Hmm.
my mom, there has to be something
Mm.
about that firstborn daughters and mom. Why? Like I said, I think it was 2 days ago to Uncle Ben on the live stream before we ended. I think it might also have to do with mini me. Like, you're my mini me, and I can see, because the same thing also happens with a lot of men and first boys as well, right? So I think there's a phase of looking at the daughter like, those mistakes I made, not on my watch, kind of thing. And then it just
Yeah.
far, and then mixed with trauma. And then, because let's be honest, there's one thing that I heard. I remember my dad saying this to my siblings. He called myself my siblings after my mom passed to the room. And because at the time my mom passed, I had gone through so much with the cold off engagements, and then I think I told you guys I had a pulmonary embolism as well. So my dad, I
Yeah.
remember my dad speaking to my siblings and saying, "You guys have to cover your sister. There's a lot of battles that firstborns particularly go through that other children may not go through. Not necessarily whether it's spiritually, because most of the time, even from a spiritual aspect, a lot of Nigerian parents will say that first children are the target because it hits different if anything happens to the first child. It's almost like everyone's looking out for the first child to see what they're doing, how they're succeeding.
Yeah.
And in a sense, the
Mm,
first child, which most people will say is my womb opener, in a
mm,
sense, also leads the way for the younger ones, in a sense, to, I wouldn't say to succeed, but it matters. So I remember my dad having that conversation where just like, you guys always have to remember your sister and cover your sister, because there's a lot. I don't to date, I don't know exactly what I was talking about, but when I think about my trajectory and my relationship with my grandparents to begin with, from like until I was like 7 years old, I understood what he was saying. The moment where, from that moment, in fact, part of that relationship is the reason why I've never mentioned before, I was homeschooled for primary school, which is why I'm very, very fast, which is why by 13 I had finished secondary school, which is why by 8 I was in secondary school, because I was already ahead of my peers based off of the curriculum that I was on. And part of the reason was because my dad was away with the force, and then I was homeschooled, long story. But a lot of that experience is very crazy how it took me being top of my class and being celebrated, right, by strangers, for my grandparents to feel like they were missing out on being called my grandparents. I don't even what I'm saying makes sense. So
Hmm.
I can see why my mom was pushing for a certain level of success, because that was kind of what she realized would give her that recognition. So I think that that is kind of what goes through a lot of parents' head with their first children, is that you are going to be proof that I have done well in life, in a sense.
Yeah.
So yeah.
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 There's also the mindset that definitely what you said makes sense, because sometimes, and I say this, the mistakes that our parents make, because remember, we're basing a reflection of that. So anything that we do negative is a reflection on our parents, especially the mother, because she spends them a lot more majority of her time nurturing us and rearing us as children. And definitely it's the case where the disappointments they've had, the sacrifices they've had. Maybe they didn't go to university. Maybe they weren't as accomplished as they should be. Us as the daughter or the child, they will make it by fire by force. The fact that I never went to university, you will go to university. You will get a first class. So there's that extra burden. I don't think it's necessarily just on the firstborn. I think it's all children. I think that if you have three children and you've got a mother that feels that she was kind of shortchanged in life, she never was able to succeed in academically or in the workplace, she's now going to push it on all of her children. And so you've got the added pressure where you've got a mother that feels that her pride and joy are going to be all of those children. And by fire, by force, you dare not fail. You better succeed. And then you have all the pressure because of it.
Okay. Yeah. So I
Sensible.
wanted to, yeah, I wanted to say something real quick. So let's go back to Sister Maria just wants to shake the table here a little bit, and I just don't want us to fall off track because
Right.
I hear all we're saying about our parents and how they've done, and really I don't see this Tokyo situation in that. So can we go back to this toxic mother situationship? Because we know there's some
Sure,
terrible,
sure,
terrible
sure.
mothers out there that I don't know why they have children in the first place. Can we go back there and shake that table? Because we need to.
Yeah, of course.
Let's shake it. Let's
Um,
shake it.
yeah, I don't
Well, I
see
was
how
actually gonna say, how do how do these patterns, toxic patterns, show up? What do they look like? So, for example, it would be like emotional manipulation. For example, a mother saying, "Oh, after everything I've done for you," they'll all throw that at their kids. Lack of
I think.
boundaries, lack of boundaries, being really
Mhm,
dismissive or competitive. Sometimes some mothers, I've heard this a lot. Um, when I've watched like Iyanla or whatever, and there are some mothers,
mhm.
they're like, "Oh, you're just like your father." When their child reminds them of their part, an
The
ex, or
negative side.
maybe a
Hmm.
Yeah,
past
negative side.
relationship,
Yeah.
they really hold that against that child. And then a lot of the time as well, their love. We always say, as a mother, your love is unconditional. But a lot of these type of mothers that are very toxic, their love seems to have
Mhm,
conditions tied to it. So they only give you affection when it's based on maybe obedience or performance from the child, which obviously causes, which is toxic, because a mother, your love shouldn't be based on, okay, my daughter does this for me, okay, now I can show her affection. Or if my daughter is buying me and gifting me a house or a car, that's the only time I can call her. I'm interested in what she's doing with her life. So I'd say, I
mhm.
mean, in terms of those type of toxic relationship, what do the patterns look like?
I think it's the narcissistic behavior, and yes, I'm using that word. It's the narcissistic behavior
Really.
where you think the gaslighting. Like for example, I've heard of stories of friends of mine where any situation, whether it's someone, your daughter's wedding or your daughter's boyfriend, you want to be the center of attention. Very similar to what someone said about was it Black China's mum, in the fact that she's competing with her daughter. I've heard of people where the mother has nothing good to say about the daughter. Every single thing, even with her getting a first, maybe getting a great job, there's criticism. Oh, you could have done better. So there's nothing that you can do that the mother is happy about. And it's very similar to what the last thing that we saw. Everything that she says, your the mother's love is conditional. Everything has to be about her. When you now say to her that, mum, some of your behavior is toxic, she'll now turn around and make you feel bad that she's the victim. You know, you have a lot of mothers that do that. And there's unconditional love where even when you think that your mother, mum, I don't think you should be doing this, you have to defend her because she's your mother. You know, I carried you in my womb for 9 months. So it's always this blackmail in terms of like, you can do no wrong. I'm your mother. No matter how old you are, you have to be obedient. So there's a lot of that. And I think it's a lot of gaslighting, a lot of emotional blackmail. And I think to me, that's very much narcissistic behavior. It's this mentality that you are seen and not heard, even at the old age of whatever, 40, 50. I've seen people that are 40 and 50 years old and they're still scared of their mother because their mother controls every single thing, every single action. I've seen it and it's quite scary.
Wow.
Absolutely. Can I please take some comments before we get into it? And it's the last video, and then we can, I guess, talk more about signs of toxicity, and then we'll drop the link. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Tony says, I will definitely be using AI to write some people's tributes, honestly. And it's sad because tribute should be coming from the heart. But yeah. Inkechi AK says, welcome, sis. She says, let's not forget cultural influence and classify everything actions as traumatic. I agree some daughters experience trauma or negative treatment received from their mothers. Yeah, that's why Auntie Inkos was saying that some things might be cultural. Maybe it's kind of like a reputation. If your mother treats you a certain way, maybe that's how her mother also treated her. She just feels like that's what she's supposed to
Yeah.
do. Also, honey
It's
babe, to
kind
even
of,
say something that you said, I think that I'm not going to lie, my own opinion. I feel like by my last sister, so I have a brother and a sister, but my sister, my mom was
yes.
tired. She was tired. She has been shouting for 20 something years at this
Mm,
point. She was tired. So my sister, I
mm,
remember I would call my mom and my sister would talk back. I'm like, hey, they talk
yeah.
back.
Yeah. Where did they do that?
Say, in this house, we used to talk back. Or things like as Inku said, my sister would do her was in her nails. I don't
Yes.
understand. They used to do nails in this house at 15.
Oh,
Oh, okay. So I think that by the time by the time I had left for uni, my brother had left as well. My
Sure.
sister, she was just there like, ah, this is my last born. Oh, I'm tired. Let me just
Let me
relax.
take, yes. Yes.
I
You
think
know,
that
you funny you say that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Funny you say that because there's age difference between me and my sister is 7 years, and I definitely agree. There's a lot of things my sister did, and I said I really held on to resentment for my mum. We've obviously cleared the air years ago that she was very strict with me, but when it came to my sister, who's 7 years younger, my sister would talk back. My sister would do so many things, and my mum would just let it go, let it go. And very similar to what you said, I think my mum was just tired because she had me and my brother, and
Mm,
obviously there's a 7 year difference. But I felt so angry for a long, long time towards my mum because I felt that I was unfairly treated
mm,
compared to my younger sister. My sister's the youngest. Obviously, we've resolved it, but I think it does for some people. I felt very resentful and I did harbor a lot of resentment. And for a long time, we weren't as close as we are now. So I just want to mention that.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so yeah, I've read that comment. Cool. And then Misty says, I think African moms are very tough on firstborn girl child. I can relate to what the panel is saying. I think their firstborn succeeding is their ultimate pride. Absolutely. And my experience with family as well is that they kind of put firstborns against each other. So, for instance, I'm the firstborn of my own immediate family, the firstborn of my, let's say, my cousin, firstborn of her own family. I feel like there's a silent competition
Yeah,
people don't talk
there
about.
is.
So every parent
Yeah.
is trying to win that that competition where it's just like, and particularly in my dad's family, I've seen it where I ended up winning the competition, and it's not funny. No, it's not funny because from being the Omo Igbo grandchild to being my look-alike, my grandmom's name is actually Aduni. That's why I like Auntie Aduni. So my grandmom's mom is
Mm,
name is Aduni. From that to Adunu Kekere, How you did not like me? Like how am I like now? Your
Mm,
look like I look like you, but I'm Omoibo now. I'm Omoibo, so how do I look like you? So that kind of also caused a lot of issues with my other
yeah,
cousins as well, because they're like, how I'm not the first grandchild, by the way, I'm the fourth grandchild. So other people are like, how is it that the first grandchild, who's also a girl, does not look like you, but it is this Omoibo that looks like you? So there's always silent competition between each
yeah.
family as well. And they tend to use the first child for this competition most of the time with individual families. Yeah. So Auntie Oyin says my older sister and I felt our mom was a stepmom at some point in our lives. Oh, story of our lives. Sis Marriott says many of our moms are envious of us. Ooh, we are living their dream they never got to live. Sorry, I need to come back to this.
Exactly.
Coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're back.
Yeah.
um Nkechi Eke says, I concur with you, dear. Yes, firstborn daughters are treated differently from the younger ones because the saying is that if the firstborn misses steps, the younger ones will follow her footsteps. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm,
Says Gypsy Hot says, there is this saying, a good child belongs or is a reflection of his or her father, while a bad child belongs or is a reflection of their mother. Yes. Remember that thing that they say where if a child is doing badly, the father will say, where's your child?
yes.
The mother, where's your child? But if a child is doing amazing, if the father will be saying, where's my child? So
Mm,
absolutely. Please, let's address Sister Mario. Sissy, let's address Sister Mario's comment.
Yeah. So
Many of
Yeah,
our
because
moms
actually
that,
this
are,
was
that's the nitty gritty right there.
this
yeah,
was
yes,
actually
I
going
many
to
agree.
be
many
this was
of our
actually going to
moms
be
are envious of us. We are living their dream they never got to live.
Yes,
Sissy, please
I
let
can
it
agree
go.
with that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also, I was going to say this, some mothers, unfortunately, just like before they were mothers, they're still women, right? And
Mm,
unfortunately, a lot of some mothers, not my mom, but some mothers, I'm saying our mothers, right, are often raised to be male centered, and they have a lot of internalized misogyny which they operate from when they're parenting, which I think then makes the dynamics between themselves and their daughter very difficult. So it's similar to what Marriott just said. A lot of moms are envious of their daughters, 100%. I can speak from my experience, not in terms of envious, but from my experience of having a child in my like a teen mum. I know that maybe the hopes and dreams that my mom had for me, obviously they were not cut short. They were just diverted slightly, but I got back on track because I did manage to, it's not like I had multiple kids after. That was just a one-off incident. But I can see where, let's say for myself, if I was in that situation, I've had a child really young, I've had to put my life on hold, I'm looking after my child, I'm missing out on things, going to uni, which I didn't do. I didn't get the uni experience in terms of living on halls, living far away from home. I like was a homeschool. I mean home, what do you call it? Home resident or something. So I
yeah,
still went
I
to
get it.
uni, but I just went in, I did my lessons, took my exams, and I came home and I was a mum, right? And I didn't do a lot of the things that other people my age at the time were doing. I didn't hang out with friends, like go partying excessively because I really took on the full responsibility of looking after my child. I didn't want my mom to step in and do the African thing of covering my shame by taking my child and pretending like it's her child and growing up with my daughter as my
Yeah.
sibling. No, I told,
Mm,
my mom made that a suggestion in the beginning and I was like, no. I'll look after my child by myself. If you're going to support me,
mm,
fantastic. If you're not going to support me, then so be it. But I want to look after my own child. I don't want to grow up in that dynamic of pretending that my child is my sibling. So with that,
mm,
clearly, I missed out on a lot of things, right? By no fault
sure.
of my daughter, but just through the responsibility. So I can see where when your child gets older, I was definitely very hard on myself, not only to myself, that despite, being a teen mom, maybe not going into the role, into the type of job that I would have wanted because I kind of took a backseat to parent her, I really needed her to do well. that was not up for debate. So I was super hard on her. I was really strict on her, focused on school. She didn't do any dating. She wasn't talking to boys. She wasn't doing none of that. And by God's grace, and with the support of my family, she's turned out amazingly. She's doing so well. She's graduated. She's working her big girl city job, and as a family, we're so happy with the outcome. But I can see where a parent would feel like, okay, if my child is going to be a reflection of me and I've kind of
Mm.
messed up, that child is then the kind of it's going to be your chance to fix things, to kind of rewrite your history, right? Some
Yeah.
parents go
Yeah.
overboard with those expectations to the point where it damages their relationship. I didn't do that. Mine was just more so of, I do not want my daughter to go out there, one, to get pregnant like I did, because I knew already I'm not going to put my life on hold to look after her child like my mum put her life on hold to look after mine. I know it's selfish, but no, I was not prepared to do that. And then two, I didn't want it to be, oh, okay, so she had a child young. This is definitely the route for her daughter. So there was something I had to prove, not only to myself, but to the community as well, like,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So it does
Sure.
come with
Sure.
that added, it does give
Sure.
you that added burden that you push your
Mm.
child. Sometimes, like I said, a lot of parents go overboard with that expectation, because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's not the child's fault that you had them when you had them. It's not their fault that the trajectory of your life hasn't gone the way you wanted. But one thing I said to myself, and one, maybe it's just how I've been brought up, or I knew that even though I had my daughter young, that was not going to derail me from having a good life. That was not going to derail me from being successful. That wasn't going to derail me from doing what I needed to do. I understood that it was going to pause certain things that I was going to do. But your child is not a child forever. Your child is going to become their own
They
person.
grow up.
You know it. They're going to grow
Mm.
up. They're going to move on and do their own thing. And you can focus and get. And I was still young, right? I've literally grown up with my daughter. Okay. So I still have the opportunity to do all of those things. It took me a little bit longer, right? I didn't take the route that everybody else did, but I still got there. You know,
Mm.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
some parents, maybe due to circumstances, they don't have that opportunity, which I understand. So then it becomes like you focus all your attention on your children. You may never get that opportunity to pour into yourself, irrespective of raising your children. So that's where the resentment comes from. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I just Man of Prestige just super chatted
Oh,
us
thank you, MOP.
Thank
$10.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you
MOP.
so much,
God bless.
MLP.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, sir. I really appreciate your call. I imagine, it was just his birthday and he's the one giving us presents.
Oh,
Thank you
Thank you
wow.
so
so
much,
much.
MLP.
I need
Um.
to. Sorry, can I just read through the rest of the comments and then
Yeah.
we can
Sure.
play the next
Sure.
video, so we can drop the
Yeah.
link. When your
Mm-hmm.
mother turns your wedding into her dream wedding, trying to outshine you.
Ah, voila.
Hmm.
I don't know
Oh,
if that is really Sister Marriott. Why
It's
now?
I'm
it's
not agree. I
happened.
think
It's
it's
I
very
think
happened.
she's trying to show off with you. That's what me I think.
Yeah.
I have one friend that her mother wore like 5 outfits for her
Ha.
sister's wedding, but
Are you serious?
the bride only had three. So I was now wondering, 5 outfits when
Is
the
their
bride had
wedding too?
three. That is so odd.
Oh my God. Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, yeah, I already read that comment. Sister Dipsy Hot says it's like mothers. I can't see the thing anymore.
live
It's
vicariously
there
through
now.
their daughters.
My
Finish
screen
it, Cece.
You want me to finish it?
is
It's
blank.
Yes, please.
Dipsy Hot says it's like mothers live vicariously through their daughters. They fulfill their own unachieved dreams and needs through their children's activities and accomplishments. Absolutely.
Can you guys
Mm,
hear
I
me?
definitely.
We can hear
Yes, I
you.
can. We
Yeah, we
can.
can
We
hear
can hear you,
you.
Abs. We can hear you, Abby.
What's going on?
We can hear you.
Take the next comment,
Mm.
Abby.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, everybody?
Yes, we can
Yes.
hear you
Yes, Abs. We can hear you. We
loud
can
and
hear you,
clear.
Abby. Yeah. Totally.
Oh my
I
god,
think
what's going on?
since she can't hear us.
Okay, so
Hey.
Missy is saying, for me, I just had to shine as she corrected all her errors on me. Facts. That's like me and my daughter. I'll be honest, I'm guilty of that, definitely.
Mm.
Okay,
But
okay, okay. Right, cool.
are you okay now?
Sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know what happened. My screen went blank.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
Take the next comment, Abby.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you. Missy says, Abby, they get tired indeed by fourth or fifth child. those last two babies even get to date openly. Yes, first boss can. Yeah,
Hey.
my sister that boy can speak out from the house. I was like, I
Really?
was confused. They even gave my sister driver and
Eh?
car. As they used to go and pick out from cinema dates. I'm like, eh?
Hey.
Hey, things are really happening in this house. So
Telling
that's
you.
what I literally used to say to my mom. I said, things are really happening in this house. But anyway, I don't know what happened to my
This
laptop
is
there. I'm
well.
now scared. Anyway, cool. Can I play the last
Play
video
the
and
last,
then
the
we'll
last.
give
Yeah, yeah.
up
Go on,
the
Abby.
name?
Fantastic. Hmm.
Okay. Welcome, Auntie
Hey, Auntie
Grace.
Grace. Hey, Auntie
Sorry, there's
Grace.
something happening because I also cannot even see Cool Mama's comments. Anyway, I'm coming. I'll deal with that in a sec. Okay.
Okay.
Allow your poisonous mother to turn you into her copy. It will never get better with a toxic mother, no matter how hard you try. The problem is your mother, not you. She will not improve or change. The earliest you escape, you will have more chances to save your sanity. One day, this will wreck your social behavior, your relationships, and your communication with other people, and might destroy your life. No one chooses his parents, and kids are not responsible for what happened in their parents' life. You can't fix your mother, and it's not your work to deal with it. One thing I can tell you from my own experience is that single mothers are the most possible candidates for poisonous parents. Your mother is damaged and poisonous, but that doesn't mean you have to take her poison. The only toxin that can hurt you are the ones you let in. Poisonous people are people in pain, regardless of whether they admit it to themselves or to others. My advice to you is to live your own best life and try to find forgiveness within yourself.
Come on. Unprovoked stray bullets.
Hmm.
See, see.
I said, single parents
Serious.
catching stray bullets for everything.
I'm telling you.
You know,
What?
global warming problems. Single mothers.
I'm telling you.
Taxes.
Oh my
Single
God.
mothers.
Catching,
Ah,
catching strays, man. Left, right,
single mothers
center.
rest. My God,
Sister Natsu
Oh my
and I
God.
chose the song too.
it is well.
Oh
What are
Sorry,
God.
what?
I don't mean
Have
to
you
laugh.
opened the lines to let people in?
Yeah, but
Okay.
Sissy, can we do the
Hmm.
Okay.
Sis That's a Lie segment?
Okay. Cool. Do you want to do this first and then do the what the lady just discussed, or you want to do sisters to lie?
Yeah, I don't have any. Oh,
Yes, that's a
sorry.
lie.
Yeah, anyone that has anything to say about that should go ahead and we can do Sis That's a Lie.
Um, I'm laughing here because obviously single mothers are getting it both back. Sorry, yeah, but what she said does make sense because, like I said, um, I say this and I say this with the utmost respect. Even me, technically I'm a single mum because obviously I'm divorced, as everybody knows. But like I said, I've always had the mindset that I chose to have my two kids. And I think we need to understand that these children did not choose to be born. And I think we need to understand that whatever they amount to, yes, we're the ones that will, obviously discipline them, encourage them to be the best version of themselves. But at the same time, they can't live their lives just to please us. And I say this with all respect that yes, the ultimate blessing and the ultimate thing is that you have a child that is happily married, great job, has excelled academically. But at the same time, just because that didn't happen to you, that's our issue to deal with. So I think sometimes, like I said, whatever happens in your life, you shouldn't push it onto your children. So I definitely agree that a toxic mother, which is what she's talking about in this thing that we saw, deal with your. I always say people that hurt people, and I think personally, whether you're, especially if you're a mother, whatever issues you have, you need to deal with it and not push it onto your children. All that happens is that they resent you, and then you have a situation where you have fractured relationships because I've seen friends of mine that have been in situations where they have very, very toxic mothers, and they've totally, the relationship has disintegrated to the extent that one of my close friends, she hasn't spoken to her mother in almost 8 years. She has got married. She married without her mother being there. She did one vacation wedding. She's had children, and the mother has never seen her grandchildren. So when you're now doing these things, I think you need to really realize that there are consequences to your toxicity, all that's going to happen. Because, like I said, for a child, some children don't want to deal with it. And some children will not accept it and say that I'm not dealing with my mother. I don't want anything to do with her. And I'm jogging on. So I think us as parents, single mother catching strays, I think we need to be very, very careful that any trauma or any issues you have, you need to deal with it and not reflect or mirror that trauma onto your children. So I think definitely what she said, I've seen it in a lot of my friends' parents that, and it's not the best.
Wow. Crazy.
Oh, that's so
Sissy,
sad. Yeah.
do you have
So
anything to say?
I think for in terms of when it's, I mean, single parents get blamed for everything. I know I made a joke of it, but it's sad, but it's true.
Yeah, yeah,
Unfortunately, because irrespective of what you do, those kids are your responsibility, right? And when you don't have the cover of a partner to take some of the responsibility in terms of if the kids are not doing well, if the kids are going off the rail, the spotlight is just on one person, right? Which is unfair because those kids have a father as well, but nobody ever says anything about the partner. Yes, children do better in a two-parent household, fantastic. But there are a lot of two-parent households where there's a mum and a dad present, yet the mother is still a single parent. How about that? We're not going to unpack that, right? Those kids are
of
just as
course.
damaged, if not more damaged, because they're presenting or pretending to the world that they're this big happy family, yet there's a lot of dysfunction going on there that the kids can't really work through, and those parents are still together under the same household. So even though it's unfair that single parents do get a lot of the kind of negativity of, when relationships go sour, I think it's a lot of pressure for one person to take. You're dealing with your own issues, you're dealing with the kids, you're also dealing with scrutiny from outside. I can see where, sometimes when you're by yourself, it does impact your children quite negatively, and it can be difficult to work through those emotions if you haven't got the support system in place. Mm.
Yeah. I definitely think that. Sorry, I just quickly say that. I know I jumped in again. Sorry. It just came to me when Cece was saying, when I was talking, it wasn't just about single mums. My mum is trying to advise a couple. The guy is 60 and the wife is 57. They're having serious issues, as in it's affecting the kids. The daughter who's who's 15, 16, has even said to them, I want you guys to divorce because it's got so bad. So definitely what CC says is very true. Yes, the ideal is to have two parents, but if you've got parents that cannot live together, and unfortunately people divorce for whatever reasons, what can you do? I mean, obviously this is a different subject, but what you can do is hopefully the two of you can co-parent, and even if you're not technically together, you can obviously share the burden so that the single mum, which you always normally is the single mum, doesn't carry the burden. That's the ideal, but unfortunately there's situations where unfortunately some of the men are nowhere to be seen and the woman is carrying the load. That is why for me, I made it very abundant that I will do whatever it takes to be civil so that my son's dads are there for me, because I don't want to die for any child. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Even this weekend, my son is going to his dad so I can chill. So I think it's very, very important that regardless of what situation you're in, that you have a situation where you share the load when it comes to parenting, because parenting is not easy and it can lead to resentment, and then it can lead to toxicity because the woman is carrying all the load.
Mm.
Auntie
Anything
Inka?
to say?
Yeah. So, about single parenthood, I don't have any experience with that, but I can say that I've seen a lot of single mothers and they're trying their best. They're really, really doing what they have to do. Now, are they growing from, going a lot? And let's go back to the younger single parents when we're talking about, teenagers or almost adults having children. They themselves are children. So of course, they may have, they have the tendency of being, maybe you can call it toxic, because they don't know how an adult is supposed to act with a child, right? They are also learning. They are also learning as they go. So they're trying to raise a child, but they're also, still a child themselves. So I would say that as you get older, maybe the adults around them can help. And that's why, how some of these mothers, they would actually take custody of the child and raise the child as though the child was their own, because they know, the teenager that had the child really does not know how to do any of that. So it is for whoever might be in that situation to kind of, for the adults that have a child that's had another child, to help them grow. If not, this toxic situationship, especially with, this Black China and her mom, is going to continue, because you have a mom who had a child so young, and she's pretty much raising herself and raising a child at the same time, right? So how do we as a society, help that, women that have maybe children, or parents that have children that also had children, because we see a lot of that. Now, I'm talking, when I mentioned about the moms in Nigeria and the way they raise children, it's very far, very different from this Tokyo situationship, right? We're actually talking about mothers that are very, very toxic. They are so jealous of their daughters. They pretty much want their life, right?
Mm.
So now, how do we? I don't want us to keep going off. Everything that we said is amazing, but I don't want us to go off the nitty gritty of the situation here. We're talking about these really, really evil narcissists of mothers that want their daughters' lives, right? Because really, they do exist. On the day, they really do exist. I have a story about a woman that, she found out that the reason why, I think I shared this backstage too, the reason why she didn't get married all this while, she'd already introduced about 10 men to her mom. And every time these men will go to Nigeria to meet her mom, they ended up breaking up the relationship. Could it be spiritually or physically? Something happened. They ended up breaking up. Why? She later found out that it was because her mom never wanted her to get married, because she was being used as a cash cow for the family to raise the rest of her siblings. Now, those are the people that want your life, and they pretty much want to feed on you to help them raise the children that they bore, right? So, how do we address that?
I want Mama Regina.
We know
Mm,
them.
yeah.
I think
let me
I
let
know
me
it
just drop
sounds
a
harsh.
story quickly.
Mm,
I was in a hairdresser's a few years ago, and this lady was
mhm.
telling the story that a friend of hers, the mom had come to do omugo, right? For she had had twins, only to find out that her mom ended up sleeping with her husband.
Eh,
Oh God.
eh.
Eh?
Eh, eh.
Her mom is a young, I mean, her mom is like a young, had her when she was young.
Younger woman,
Still,
yeah.
yeah, she's still, so the daughter
Wow.
must be in her maybe late early 30s. So her mum is still pretty relatively young, right? Maybe early 40s, or no, like maybe early 50s or something, but still looks good, takes care of herself. And the lady who was telling the story, we were just like, our mouths were open, like, how is this true? Like, I was like, this can't be true. She's like, no, they've come from like a family meeting about this issue, because they invited the mum to come with them. The daughter didn't want the mum to come, actually, because she knows her mum is like a weirdo like this.
Mm.
So she really didn't want her mum to come to do the mugo for her. But because she had twins, she had CS. So the husband was like, no, let the mum come, whatever, whatever. So lo and behold, when the daughter went out one day, the mum, she just noticed that the mum has started wearing like this type of, instead of your mum wearing wrapper, right? Like comfortable wearing a nightgown. The
Very
mom would just be
boo.
wearing like all this negligee that's very like enticing, just inappropriate, right? For a mom to be wearing around her son-in-law. I mean, in my culture,